All right, make sure you get 48, 49 into your table of contents. We're doing 2 pages today. Page 48, you are writing the title, Triangle Inequality Theorem, and then this sentence needs to be written. That sentence is the theorem. The sum of the smaller sides must be larger than the largest side, and that's on a triangle. So we're going to look at how to do that. So you're looking at your two smaller sides of your triangle. You add them up. They must be larger than the largest side of your triangle for it to be a triangle. Okay, so the first sheet we're looking at is this small sheet. I already cut it, but you can cut it in a little bit. Alright, so what I was just saying is that the sum of the 2 smaller sides, which in this case would be 8 and 17, have to add up to be greater than that last side. So the way you would check that is you would add the 2 sides together, which in this case would give me 25. 25 is larger than 24. So this is a triangle, okay? So they'll give you 3 sides and they'll say, is this a triangle or could this possibly be a triangle? The way you know is you have to apply this theorem. So on number 2, what 2 sides would I add?
3 and 3, 6, and 6 is less than 7.
Very good. So 6 would be less than 7. Which means that we should say no, that cannot form a triangle. Okay, and then on the next one, we would add 7 and 35.
48 is greater than 35.
Well, it would be 42, right?
Oh, 42.
Which is greater than 41. So yes, that can form a triangle. Okay, now that is just proving if it forms a triangle. On the next one, we're trying to figure out the range of the last side. So they give us 2 sides. The way that we figure out what the last side could be is we first add them together and we also subtract them. So whatever sides they're giving you, you add them and you subtract them. So when I add 3 plus 11, I get 14. And then 11 minus 3 is 8, okay? So what that means is that the last side of this triangle could be greater than 8, but it could also be less than 14. It has to be in that range for it to form a triangle. Okay, you would do the same thing on the next one. You would add the 2 numbers, and then you would also subtract them. Okay, so 28 plus 31 is 59, and then 31 minus 28 is 3. Very good. So big range, but it has to be greater than 3 and less than 59, that last side of your triangle. Okay, and on the last one, you would do the same thing. You would add them and you would also subtract them. So 24 plus 7 is 31, good. And then 24 minus 7 would be what number? 17, good. So my range is 17 through 31. Okay, so that's finding the range of the third side. Okay, on the next one, these are ordering angles and ordering sides. The smallest angle is always opposite the smallest side. the largest angle is always opposite the largest side. So it kind of goes together. So I'm going to show you how that works. So they might ask you to order the angles from greatest to least or least to greatest. So what you do is you look at your measurements that are given, and you're looking for, in this case, the smallest side, which would be 17. So my smallest side is 17. So the angle that is directly across from that is going to be angle C. So your first angle would be angle C. That's going to be your smallest angle. The next number in the order would be what number? 20, which is across from angle A. So that would be your next angle. And then your last one would be angle B. Very good. So pretty easy to remember. Large, large, small, small. So same thing for the last one. The shortest side is always opposite the smallest angle. And the longest side is always opposite the largest angle. Okay, so notice on this angle, on this triangle, only two angles are labeled. We know that all the angles inside of a triangle add up to 180. So what we would do is we would first add the two that are given. Yes, and then we would subtract that from 180. So we would add those together, which would give me 112. And then we would subtract, which would give me 68 degrees. Okay, so the greatest measurement, it says from greatest to least, would be 68. So the side that is opposite of 68 would be this side here, which would be side EF, or you could say FE. That would be the first in your order. Your next measurement would be 59. So the measurement, or the side that's opposite of 59, would be DF or FD. And then the smallest angle would be 53, which is across from ED. Okay, so we're going to continue practicing that. This foldable, the way it works is you're going to fold in each corner. So this is how it should look when you're done. And then we'll move on. Okay, so it says list the angles of each triangle in order from smallest to largest. So again, we're going from least to greatest on this one. So you should be looking for, on this problem, the smallest side. On this triangle, what is your smallest side? 2.9. So that would be across from angle B. So that's going to be your first angle. You have to be able to order numbers and decimals here. Across from the next side, what would be my next side?
3.1.
3.
Oh.
That would be your next largest, which would be angle A. And your largest side would be 3.1, which would be angle C. All right. So on number 2, same thing. We don't know the unknown measurement, but we know that X is going to be the smallest number because nothing's being added to it. So across from X would be angle Z. What do you think my next measurement would be?
Y is 2, X plus 2.
X plus 1, right? Which would be angle X. And then across from the last one would be angle Y. All right, on number 3, again, we don't know the unknowns, but we should be able to figure out that the smallest side would be 3y. Across from 3y would be angle J. My next side would be 4y. Yes, so it would be angle L. Good. And then last would be 5y, which is across from angle K. All right. Okay, so on number 4, again, all my sides are not listed, but I know that this is my longest side, obviously, because it is the hypotenuse, and you can just tell by the measurements. So the smallest side would be measurement 5, so angle Q would be first. Then 12, which is across from, and then your last one would be angle R. Good, all right. Okay, so that's listing angles, that's ordering angles. On the next one, we're ordering sides. All right, so on number 5, you should be figuring out the missing side first. You should be able to tell that it is pretty much a right angle or close to a right angle, which should tell you that that is the largest angle, but I'm just going to go ahead and work this part out. That would be, together, those would be 90, and then you would subtract from 180, which would in fact give you 90 degrees. So that would be a right angle. Okay, so normally you would find the missing side first. From there, you're using those angle measurements to order your sides. So what is your smallest angle measurement here? 44. Across from 44, we have the side what? RS. So that would be my shortest side, so that one would go first. And actually, we wouldn't label it with that. We would label it with a line over it, because now we're talking about segments. So ignore this little thing here. Okay, your next measurement would be 46, which is across from segment QR or RQ. Okay, and your last one would be across from the right angle, which would be QS or SQ. Okay, so on number 6, there is no drawing. So here you would probably want to draw out the triangle. It doesn't have to be perfect to what it really looks like, but just so that you can get an idea of where the sides and angles are located. And I would just do angle A, B, C. It doesn't matter how you label it, as long as they're in order from A, B, and C. So then you would use the measurements that are given. I know that the measure of A is 99. The measure of B is 44. And the measure of C is 37. Okay, if you can fit them on the inside, great, but I didn't draw my angles big enough. So from there, you should still be able to order your sides. I know that my smallest angle is 37. Across from 37 would be AB. So we would do, bless you, line AB. What would my next angle be?
44.
44, which is across from CA. Then your last one would be across from 99, which is BC or CB. All right, on number 7, we have a missing angle, so how should I do that? Very good. All right, so I'm going to add them together. Go ahead and do that. What would we get there?
415.
Subtract that from 180, which would give me what?
65.
Very good. All right. So 65, I'm going to put that on the inside, and I'm going to order them. So what is my smallest angle? Across from what line? MO. Good. Okay, next we have 61 across from NO or ON. And then your last one obviously would be MN. Okay, so on number 8, similar to number 6, again you would draw out a triangle. Angle A would be 122. Angle B would be 22. And angle C would be 36. Okay, I'm getting all of that from this piece up here. Okay, my smallest angle is what? 22, which is across from what side? CA. My next smallest side? 36 across from AB or BA. And then your last one would be 122, which is across from CB.
Who's entering? You guys speak. I heard. I thought it was very because she used to talk slow.
She was a while ago. All right, so those are ordering angles, ordering sides. So here, this is just two triangles put together. We're determining which side is the shortest, so we're still using angle measurements to do that. So you're going to look at these angles as two separate triangles. This would be triangle ADC or ACD. I have two measurements given, 61 and 60. I need to figure out the missing side here, or the missing angle, sorry. So I would first have to add again. When I add those together, I get 121. And then you would also again have to subtract. Which would give me, did I subtract? 59, yes, very good. Okay, so same thing here. I'm given two angles. I need to figure out this angle. I would add those together. Good, yes. And that would give me 120. And then I would subtract. And that would give me 60. Alright, now, so if you're trying to figure out the smallest side, you need to look at the entire figure. What is your smallest angle?
The one on the left.
55. So what side is across from 55? AC. So that is your answer for this problem here. Side AC. Okay, so right now I want you to find on the next one these two angles here that I marked. Go ahead and do that part. So you're going to add the ones that are shown and then subtract from 180. Okay, and subtract that from 180. 67 in that corner. Okay, I'm going to do the same here. You're going to add those and subtract from 180. Okay, this is right, but here you have to borrow from the 8. So it would be, your answer's going to change.
So it's EG.
Good, all right.
EG, right?
Okay, so for here, we're adding 52, 61,
So I'll be 113.
113, subtract from 180, 67.
And then
Okay, same thing here, add these. 133, subtract
47.
47. All right. So which side is across from the smallest angle?
EG.
This is my smallest angle. That's my smallest side. So EG, or line EG, would be my answer there. Okay, moving down. All right. Which sets of measures can form a triangle? So this is going to be the first one that we did. You would take the two smaller sides and add them. So on number 11, what are my two smaller sides? That equals 15, which is greater than 9. So as long as it's greater than that last side, the answer would be yes, it can form a triangle. Okay, so you're going to do that for the other two. You're going to add the two smallest sides, which I am underlining, so you're just going to add them and compare it.
If it's not greater, we just put no.
Yes.
I put an equal, do I just put an equal sign or something?
You can put an equal sign, but the answer would still be no because it's not bigger.
Okay.
What if it's like the exact same?
Yeah, they're equal, so the answer would be no.
Would it go that way or would it go this way?
No, so remember the alleyway used to be there? Okay, so we add 7 and 6, we get 13, which is equal to 13. So if they're equal, that cannot form a triangle. This would be less than good, which again cannot form a triangle. It has to be greater. All right, last problems here. We're almost done. All right, so on these last three, this is going to be where we find the range. So we do what here? Yes. All right, so we add each one and we subtract each one.
review?
Yes, and then you would write, we're going to write the inequality for each one, which would be like the comparison. So here we have 16 and 6, 24 and 0, 35 and 15, and 14 and 2. So the way we would write, where it says write an inequality, okay, it would be like the example we did in our journals. So the third side has to be greater than 6 but less than 16 on number 14. Here, the third side has to be greater than 0 but less than 24. On 16, it has to be greater than 15 but less than 35. And on the last one, it has to be greater than 2 and less than 14. Okay, we're not going to worry about the last problem on the page. So again, this is, all of this connects to what we did in that smaller foldable. This is going to go on the next page. You're going to fold it in half like you've been doing. And you will glue this down.